Morning. I'd like to welcome back to the Betsuin Lindsay Mark and also Jillian Ota, who hit the Kansho this morning. So nice to have our college Dharma school students return during spring and winter, summer break. It's really nice. 2 days ago, this past Friday, March 20th, was actually the spring equinox. And so this morning, I'd like to welcome all of you officially to the first Sunday for the spring of 2015. The last weekend, I noticed that the first of the sakura trees in the park near our house came into full bloom. And in the days that followed, the other trees came into full bloom. And although only a week has passed, already most of the leaves, most of the blossoms have scattered to the ground, and the green shoots of leaves are already starting to emerge. I think because cherry blossoms seem to mark the changing of the seasons, and because they bloom for so few days, the sakura or cherry blossoms are often poetic imagery representing the brevity of life, the impermanence of all things. And as we are taught in Buddhism, all we need to do is open our eyes, and the whole world is constantly teaching us the Dharma. Last week, in observing our Ohigan service, we were able to welcome back to the Betsuin an old friend of mine, Reverend Sanan Kobose. Within his meaningful message, Reverend Kobose made a very subtle Dharma point, one that I feel we do not emphasize as often as we should. I really enjoyed when he shared his parenting experience as he and his wife Adrienne raised their two sons, Canon and Tate. He talked about how their children will often say, how all children will often say things to each other in a teasing and sometimes a little arguing manner. But that teasing sometimes may not be well received. And at times, the one being teased could in fact feel those words or those actions they are receiving were mean-spirited and hurtful. At such times, we are far from living the golden chain. We are not saying pure and beautiful and kind words. We are not acting in a pure and beautiful and kind manner. It must be, I think, his PhD in developmental psychology that helped him come up with what I felt to be a simple yet amazing code expression that one child could say to the other if they ever felt that their feelings were hurt or that the other person's words were mean-spirited. If this happened and they had felt like what was said was hurtful, they would just say, NS. NS. Do you remember Sensei saying that? NS, meaning negative speech. That was negative speech. And that would be the end of the discussion. As Reverend Kobose said, it was just feedback. Just feedback from one son to the other, letting the other know how they felt. There was no lecture, no consequences, no punishment, no reward. It was just a very quick way of saying, what you just said made me feel bad. End of story. What you just said hurt my feelings. End of story. He said there was only one time he had to get involved, once when the younger son said NS to the older son. The older son said, no, that wasn't NS. That wasn't negative speech. That's when Dad had to step in and remind them that the meaning of NS was not that one could judge that something was negative speech or not the other one. The one who's saying it, the receiver of the comment, is just sharing that their feelings were hurt. That's all. So if they say they felt something was negative speech, we have to accept that. That is how they feel. That's it. And later, he said that With their dad, the kids developed a code expression when they felt that he was being intimidating or making them feel afraid, as dads might sometimes do. And if he spoke to them in a way that was too intimidating, they would say to him, "MT, Dad, MT," which meant mean talk. Mean talk, Dad, mean talk. Reverend Kobose said that he had to accept their comments because that too was just feedback, not criticism of him. The kids were just letting them know how they felt. So I was really impressed with that. I imagine if we as adults were able to do the same. Imagine if our politicians running for public office were able to simply comment negative speech or mean talk and intimidating language to each other, honest feedback without any lecture or reward or consequences, just saying, hey, that's negative speech. I think we'd hear a lot of NS and MT dominating most of televised debates. Can you imagine? It's MT, dude. Hey, that was NS. But that example of how he encouraged his boys to speak more thoughtfully was making a very subtle Dharma point. That example was making a very subtle Dharma point. It's a very Buddhistic awareness that I feel, as I mentioned, we do not emphasize as often as we should. And the awareness is this. As Reverend Kobose said, we have to keep going. We never arrive. We have to keep going. We never arrive. This is a very subtle but very important awareness that we should all keep in mind. Sensei said, we don't become kind people. We become kinder people. We become kinder people. In other words, we never become perfectly good or perfectly kind. Our goal, our hope, our Dharma challenge is constantly to strive to become better people. We have to keep going. We never arrive. Get it? We have to keep going. Life itself is a journey without a destination. From the moment we are born, we are constantly becoming and growing and learning. As our previous Bishop Socho Gui would often say, wanting to come to conclusions is a modern disease. More than ever, we tend to want to conclude our understanding of things as being right and wrong, good or bad. We too quickly want to judge people and their actions as good or bad, right or wrong. As I mentioned 2 weeks ago, the understanding of karma in Buddhism is to see that there is no such thing as good karma or bad karma. Karma is not right or wrong or good or bad. Karma is just karma. Karma is made up of all the countless causes and conditions, all of the people and all of the events that allow us to be living this moment that is right now. As Kobose Sensei mentioned, we just have to keep going, for life is a journey without a destination, and the countless karmic causes and conditions create that journey of our lives. Our goal is not to become perfectly right, completely good, or totally kind. In living this journey of life, we must simply strive to become better people. The Dharma teaches us that if we live this journey of life with awareness of impermanence and a deep sense of our interdependence and interconnectedness with all things, we become realer, we become better, and we become kinder human beings. The Dharma is not NS and MT. The Dharma is not negative speech and mean talk. The Dharma is positive speech and real talk. And I really feel that's great. It's really so simple and yet so very difficult to do. In Buddhism, this concept of never arriving and always striving, this concept of never arriving and always striving is actually at the very heart of the entire tradition. To become one who is always striving is called a bodhisattva. The bodhisattva ideal is actually our goal. And the bodhisattva is considered one who is one step away from enlightenment. But the bodhisattva holds back and vows not to achieve enlightenment until all beings are enlightened. I vow not to attain enlightenment until all beings are enlightened. So the bodhisattva vow is never to arrive or never to attain enlightenment until all beings are awakened. That kind of kindness and caring, that kind of positive speech is what we call compassion. So with this awareness that this is a journey, not without a destination. Our life is a journey without a destination. That it's not to become good people or kind people. It's simply every day to try to be better people and kinder people. So let us try to nurture the Dharma in our lives and create positive speech and real talk. With that, I'd like to thank you all for arriving today and joining us on this first beautiful Sunday morning, the spring of 2015. And let us all try to continue on with this bodhisattva ideal, to be kinder, to be better, and to be realer human beings. And I'd like to welcome back also Naomi Furukawa. In closing, please join me in Gassho. The Dharma teaches us that if we live this journey of life with awareness of impermanence and a deep sense of our interdependence and interconnectedness with all things, we become realer, we become better, and we become kinder human beings. The Dharma is positive speech and real talk. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.